Music. Julie Andrews didn't come from being famous in Hollywood. She got where she is today thanks to hard work and a strong survival sense that kept her from giving up. Julie Andrews came from a background of instability, fear, and deep mental pain. This was a long time before she became famous for her role as Mary Poppins or as Maria Von Trapp in The Sound of Music. She had a voice that became her only hope and way out. But that perfect sound and beautiful smile came with a cost that no one would admit. She lost her voice, which was the very thing that made her famous. There was a cruel silence that not even a standing applause could cover up. Now that she is 90 years old, that loss will shape a new chapter in her life. Leave a like and join us in honoring Julie Andrews if her voice ever helped you, healed you, or shaped your youth. She was a woman who knew how to shine when she was heard and had the courage to stay strong when the thing that once saved her was silenced for good. Julie Andrews' story doesn't start with music or happiness. Instead, it starts with a breakup that shaped her early years in a quiet way. A fragile soul lived beneath the future glow of music and grace. It was shaped not by praise but by doubt and quiet fear. She was born on October 1st, 1935, in Walton-on-the-Thames, England. Her name at birth was Julia Elizabeth Wells, and she came into a simple family that was already struggling because of mental instability and the threat of war. For 14 years, she thought she was safe with her dad, the kind music teacher at school, Edward Charles Wells, a man whose silent presence made her feel safe and picked. Then 1950 came along. One night, Barbara, her mother, broke that fragile music certainty with a single fact. Edward was not really her father. The lie that Julie was born from was never meant to be made public. She would think about that moment years later as the moment her inner ground gave way. It was like her identity had cracked open, leaving her stuck between shame and denial. To learn that you were born from a secret is not music for a pain that goes away. As time goes on, it stays with you and changes how you see yourself in the world. As that cut got deeper into her heart, life didn't offer any comfort. During the chaos of World War II, Julie's parents split up, and she was sent to live with her mother and her new husband, Ted Andrews, a vaudeville artist who was having a hard time. Poverty kept getting tighter around them. They went through London areas that had been bombed, where there were sirens, rubble, and empty cupboards. Stability felt like a luxury that other families might be able to afford. Ted heard her beautiful voice early on and used it to bring hope to people who were feeling down. It was scary in the house when he wasn't there, though. Julie would later say that those years were very scary and full of unknowns. How being alert became second nature to her before she could even name it. The door to her bedroom was always locked at night. It wasn't because it was a habit from childhood, but because she was naturally afraid for her safety. She rarely talked about those memories out loud as an adult, but they taught her to stay private, guarded, and extremely independent. Though there was fear, something strong lived through it. Her voice came out as a shield and a safe place, bright and clear, where pain could not go. Though she was poor, secretive, and unstable, when she sang, everything was quiet. Ted Andrews pushed her onto stages, even though it hurt her, and she didn't know it, but it was the biggest paradox of her life. The same person who had made her feel less safe led her up at the start of her climb. Later, Julie would talk about this contradiction with measured grace, understanding that gratitude and trauma can live together in a complicated way. She didn't just have a hard life. I could see cracks in it that would never fully heal. Still, those cracks gave rise to a resolve shaped by persistence. She didn't start her journey with cheers or praise. At first, it was resistance to music. She decided to sing even though everything was trying to get rid of her. She turned survival into art and private pain into music, giving millions of people comfort, dignity, and healing. She never tried to find her voice. As fate would have it, the music showed up when she needed it most, during nights when fear was stronger than comfort and youth seemed like something temporary that could end at any time. Julie Andrews learned that quiet wasn't emptiness, but safety in a small, uneasy home where trust was broken quickly and safety was never a given. That a locked door could mean making it until morning. After many years, she would remember how being hungry made it even colder and how singing was the only thing that could hide all of that from her. In a cruel twist, it was her stepfather Ted Andrews, a man whose presence often made the house feel uneasy, who first saw what was inside her. He heard more than just a child's voice in the music. It was something very rare, very clean, very well controlled, and much older than she was. It would always be a puzzle to her. The home that taught her to hide was also the first place that brought her gift to the light. Julie would later think that she didn't start singing for fun, but because she had to. Singing was never a treat. I had to stay alive. For Julie Andrews, chance did not come to her as a gift. The door opened to a small space that she had to walk through. Music, knowing that one mistake could end it for good. She went to the Cone Ripman School, which is now called the Ting Park School for the Performing Arts, not because it was a privilege, but because it was her last, weak chance. She didn't have much money, there was no safety net, and her youth had already been unstable. It was one of the few places where smart kids with hidden wounds could be taught how to stay alive. Still, nothing was soft there. Madame Lillian Stiles Allen, a respected singer whose standards were high and whose empathy came from having been through pain herself, was the one who started the real change. Julie would later call her a third mother, which was a title that made her miss her deeply after years of being emotionally distant. Stiles Allen saw that she was brilliant but hurt and trained her with unwavering accuracy. Music octave after octave, the voice grew amazingly, with a pitch that was so exact it was almost unbelievable and a tone that was so clear it cut through the quiet like glass. But the price was very high. In the winters when money was tight, lessons meant long walks alone to leads through dark streets, with cold hands and a thin coat that made it hard to breathe. Julie would later remember an evening when her throat hurt so badly that she stopped playing in the middle of a scale out of fear that the instrument that was keeping her alive was going to break. It felt like I was about to lose everything if I missed even one lesson. She remembered that what hurt the most wasn't the cold itself, but coming back from those trips to no cheers, no encouragement, and no one waiting to tell her she would be okay. But she kept going. The things her teacher said are etched into her very being. It takes a beginner a while to get it right. Music works until nothing can go wrong. That's what Julie did. She forged her voice, not gently, but like steel is formed, under pressure, doubt, and fire. She made her professional debut at the London Hippodromeum in 1947 as Titania Arya Hewitt when she was only 12 years old. She played the part with such authority that even experienced actors were shocked. Music, this wasn't a kid trying to be great. This was greatness letting everyone know about it before it was time. After a year, when she was only 13, she sang by herself on stage at the London Palladium during the Royal Command variety show in front of King George V, and Queen Elizabeth. She was the youngest performer in music history to do this. There was a lot of praise. But behind her calm smile was a child who knew how quickly safety could be taken away. She kept performing nonstop on stage, on the radio, and in plays. Not just because they love music, but also because they are afraid of falling back into doubt. Music, she used discipline as a shield. She turned precision into protection. The world praised Julie as a talent, but she was still singing for a reason that went much deeper than acclaim. Every sound was a return. Each act was a refusal to go away. And the final truth lived in that sound that wouldn't change. What life had tried to shut down had not only lived, but also risen, strong, bright, and now her own. Julie Andrews was under a lot of pressure by the time she hit the top of her career. There was an unspoken threat in every part, note, and public smile. Everything could be lost with just one mistake. No amount of success made her life stable. It made her feel like the ground was shaking even more. She once thought about how nothing she worked for ever felt safe. Every chance she had felt like it could disappear at any time, to the sound of music. Music would never protect her by itself, she learned early on. Sacrifice is the only way to do it. She crossed the Atlantic Ocean by herself in 1954, when she was only 19 years old. She left England with no safety net, just her courage and the weak power of her voice. When she made her Broadway debut in The Boyfriend, critics were blown away by how clear her voice was and how easily she could bring out warmth. She also won the Theatre World Award that same year, which showed that she was a growing star. But Julie could feel the danger even through the cheers. Nobody else was there. This was the first step on a ladder, and if she fell, she would lose everything she had worked for. When Julie Andrews was 21, she took on the huge task of My Fair Lady. For years, she did up to 8 shows a week, pushing her body and voice to the limit while surgically changing into Eliza Doolittle. It took over 2,700 shows for her to become the heart of Broadway. At the same time, there was constant tiredness, a lot of stress, and the haunting fear that one mistake could ruin everything. The part she had lived and breathed for years was gone when Audrey Hepburn took her place in Hollywood music. Later, Julie said that the blow was so deep that no amount of applause could ever heal it. It brought back the fear that love alone could never protect her. Destiny stepped in through Walt Disney, who directly offered her Mary Poppins and put the production on hold until she was fully healed. In 1964, when she was 28, she won Best Actress over Audrey Hepburn with a performance that was both magical and painfully human. It was a victory of survival as well as artistry. The next year, when she was 29, she went through painful shoots for The Sound of Music, enduring freezing winds and strong helicopter downdrafts at the top of alpine slopes. Snorts, getting wet, bruised, and physically worn out, but never giving up. The movie made over $286 million around the world, won 5 Academy Awards, and made her famous. When Julie got a standing ovation or played a part, she always thought of the scared girl who locked her bedroom door to feel safe. Pain turned into strength with this guide. Her art was a shield. Her tireless work is a testament to her will to live, proving that real grace is built through hard work, discipline, and the determination to keep going even when it seems like giving up is the only option. When Mary Poppins came out in 1964, it was a huge hit that nobody saw coming. And when Julie Andrews beat Audrey Hepburn to win the Academy Award for Best Actress, it didn't feel like victory so much as it did like endurance made clear. She didn't slow down. In 1965, she joined The Sound of Music and had to work on shoots that lasted for long, hard days. She had to deal with freezing weather and strong downdrafts from helicopters that left her wet, bruised, and physically worn out. She never said anything bad. It went on to make over $286 million around the world and win 5 Academy Awards, solidifying her place in culture history. Even though her work made her tens of millions of dollars over time, Julie was careful with her money. She invested regularly, bought property and music, and turned an unstable childhood into lasting safety.
Made. He was running so fast and so well, and his smile was so real that he sometimes forgot what he was running from. The first episode of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air aired on September 10, 1990. The people of America not only watched it, they fell in love with it. The idea was meant to be easy. After getting into trouble on the wrong block, a smart West Philadelphia teen was sent to live with his rich aunt and uncle in Bear. Being a fish out of water, a clash of cultures, and a typical setup for a network comedy. But Will Smith himself was something that no writer's room could have planned. How he moved through a scene. Like how one raised eyebrow could make a joke funnier than 3 pages of words. That he could stop making jokes and say something honest and raw that would make everyone in the room stop talking. In Season 4, that happened. Benign plays Will's missing father Lou, who comes back and then leaves him again. During the scene, he keeps it together by charming, dodging, and acting until a single hurtful question aimed at his Uncle Phil breaks down the front. Man, why doesn't he want me? Following that wasn't acting in any normal way. What it was more like was digging. The things that West Philadelphia had buried in Will Smith were brought to the surface. He talked about the ups and downs in his dad's house and the way a boy feels when the man he wants to impress keeps moving away on a network comedy in front of millions of people.